brand new edition of Local Focus. Glad to have you with us. Sebastian, Noel here, back at our studios in Albuquerque. Metro Tournament just wrapped up. Games that you saw here on Game Vision. We had six different sites in the opening round, so that makes, by my math, 24 games we broadcast on those opening 2 days. All the way through the championships, we had both third-place games as well on Saturday. So a lot shook out to the Metro Tournament. Congratulations to the champions on both the girls and boys side, the Hobbs Eagles and the Volcano Vista Hawks. No surprises there, at least from this desk. That's definitely who I would have had winning those two tournaments. A bit of a surprise maybe in the girls' championship that it was Hobbs over Kirtland Central instead of Hobbs over Sandia, but my bracket would have had the Eagles all the way through anyway. And on the boys' side, I don't think much surprise there, Volcano Vista. The biggest test was going to be, and I don't think enough people talked about it, Metro Tournament, 4 games, Nike Tournament of Champions. The Volcano Vista Hawks played 7 games in 10 days, and it showed at times during the Metro Tournament. Still able to get it done, still able to beat Sandia again, so congratulations. And then, there's some other things that kind of shook out in that tournament. Stock up or risers, teams that I think, at least I saw some things that I'm paying attention to. Stock up, risers, Cibola, Cougars for sure. 5th place finish in the Metro Tournament. I don't think a lot of people would have penciled them in for a 5th place finish. Rio Rancho Rams, stock up, risers. That's a team that, hey, I'll be the first to admit when I say something crazy, I was beating that drum that they hadn't played anybody. Their schedule was shit. They're soft, right? Like that was my line going into that tournament. But, I watched them play not only against Volcano, but then in the 3rd place game, they handled their district rival, Cleveland, pretty easily. That's a team with some really nice pieces, man. They're physical. They could grind you out in a slow, methodical game. They can run when they want to. They play some defense. So, that's a team that kind of I was dismissing before the tournament a little bit, but stock up on the Rio Rancho Rams, that's for sure. Those are the two. On the girls' side, stock up. I know it sounds crazy, but the Hobbs Eagles, they proved why they're the number 1 team after the tournament. They're Max Prep's number 1. Their coaches poll number 1. I'm sure they're hoping for a rematch against Sandia. They didn't get it in the tournament. They wanted it in the Metro Tournament. If they get the Matadors again, it'll be probably for the state championship. So a stock up there. And then same thing, Rio Rancho's girls team, it looks good. Young. One thing about the girls side of the bracket, there's a lot of impact freshmen and sophomores on the girls side, especially on that Rio Rancho team. They've been through a lot this year. Coach Mabry hasn't been there to coach her team, but they made a nice run in that tournament as well. Albuquerque High, another team that's really young, has a lot of young players on the girls' side. But those are just some of my stock up. I mean, there's definitely some teams that are stock down or sell now and going the other direction after that Metro Tournament. But hey, you know what? We'll stick with the positives here, and hopefully those teams that probably didn't have a very good week, they get some time to regroup, circle the wagons. Anyway, that's a little Metro recap. Very excited today to have, we're in a pretty Metro-centric show. We film here in Albuquerque. Not to say we haven't had out-of-town guests before. We've had quite a few. We even went to Clovis to film on location. We've had a few from up north, from Santa Fe. We have never, to my knowledge, had an Espanola Valley Sun Devil, so I'm very happy to welcome in Josiah Fresquez. Welcome.
Welcome. Thank you for having me.
You guys are another one of those teams that are off to a red-hot start, right? Like, at the time we're filming this right now, you guys are 14-3, and I didn't hear anyone screaming about Espanola before the season started, so you guys are off to a nice start. A little unexpected, right?
Yeah, it was very unexpected. A lot of people didn't think that me and Jarek would be able to play together because we're both very ball dominant, but we're both accepting our roles, and we've been playing strong together.
And 4A, I mean, prior to the season, a lot of people talking about Highland, Valley, Artesia. I mean, you look at some of those teams, I don't think people are as high on Valley as they were before the season. I don't think people are as high on Artesia as they were before the season. I think Highland, the jury's still out, right, because they get Lincoln back this week. But those teams are kind of underperforming where you guys are exceeding everyone's expectations. Do you prefer it that way as a player? Do you prefer, like, hey, no one's talking about us, let's go prove them wrong? Or do you like being top dog?
Well, this is my first year I've ever had a really good season, so I like how it is. No one expected us to be this good, and no one expected us to win the games we won.
Right.
Like an Oregon Mountain game, no one expected us to win that game. So to show people that we're capable of winning big games and big teams is very big.
And then, I mean, that gym's got to be slowly getting fuller there, right, in Espanola?
Everybody's talking about it. We play Santa Fe High on Thursday, and it's supposed to be packed. Everybody's been talking about it down there in the valley.
That's, I mean, when two northern teams get together, then it's really exciting, right? Like, I have watched, I think I've been to that gym twice, so I have been there live. It's when that place is loud, those fans get crazy, it's different, isn't it?
Yeah, it hasn't been very packed because they haven't had as good a season, so hopefully this year we can change that and bring Espanola basketball back.
Do you remember kind of, as a visiting player, obviously you transferred in, but do you remember that environment, or what were your early memories of that gym there in Espanola?
Well, one of my favorite coaches, Richard Martinez, has always been the coach there, and he coached me. So I always went to the games. I was always an Espanola fan. And then my freshman year, we played them for state, and that was probably the most packed game I've ever played in. And it was a crazy environment.
Those fans can get a little, they can get crazy.
Yeah, they can.
I've experienced that firsthand. I'll tell you the story during the commercial break. But 14-3 as at the time of this taping. You talked about the Oregon Mountain game. I want to get to that in a second. But what were some of the goals at the beginning of the year? What did Coach Trujillo kind of talk to you guys about? Like, what were the mindset of the team? What were goals coming into the season?
He just wanted us to figure out how to be able to play together and play hard because, like I said, me and Jarek we're both very ball dominant, and no one was expected us. Not even me and him knew that we could have the potential to be this good. And then we have pieces like Matthew, a great scorer, a great shooter, and then we have our big guy Emilio. He's not very tall, but he's like 5'10", but he puts his body on the line. He already has 42 charges this year.
So let me ask you this. Sounds like Coach just wanted you guys to figure it out, right? And maybe there weren't a lot of expectations there at the beginning of the season. So when did it click, or did you start winning and then it clicked, or did it click and you started winning? Like, what comes first, the chicken or the egg? Like,
we started winning, and then it started clicking, and then we got hot. We won 8 straight. Then we went into the Rio Rancho tournament. We lost a game to Hope. Then we had 2 tough games with Navajo Prep and Manzano, and then we went to Alamogordo to play those 3 tough games, and that's when we started. That's when we knew when we could play with everybody.
Right. Did you and Jarek ever have conversations about, like, hey, okay, we got this, like, we're meshed now, we're good, or you just kind of just been playing and the W's have kept coming?
No, me and Jarek have built a strong relationship, and we talk a lot about basketball and what we both could do better.
So now that you guys are off to this great start, have those expectations kind of changed? Has Coach kind of regrouped, recircled the expectations, and okay, you know what? Now we got a nice group here. Now we need to actually put some goals up, like winning our district, getting a home game. What has it changed since you've got off to this hot start?
Our goals now are to win districts, win the district championship too, and then have a home game for the state tournament. Those are our goals right now.
And district-wise, you're in with Pewaukee, Moriarty, Los Alamos, Taos, right? So who's, as far as opponents, district opponent, who do you think will be the team that stands in the way, or the number one contender with you guys for the district?
It's both going to be hard. Pewaukee plays very hard. They're very guards heavy like us, and then Taos has a big guy in Malachi that's going to be hard for us to stop because we're not that big.
Right. I do want to get into, first I want to get into some more of those district opponents. We're going to take our first commercial break. I want to talk about that big kind of Oregon Mountain game. That certainly drew my attention. It's a really good Knights team. We'll be back with Josiah after this.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
The Yellow Sub, located on 7200 Montgomery Boulevard, serves breakfast all day long along with classic hot and cold subs. Don't forget about our shakes, malts and floats made with your favorite Bluebell ice cream. 45 years and still going strong. Come on down to the Yellow Sub, official sandwich of ProView Networks.
Hi, my name is Ruben, and I'm with the New Mexico Educational Assistance Foundation. We are proud sponsors of high school and college sports. Either college or trade, we can help you find the funding you need. go to nmfafsa.org. That's nmfafsa.org.
I'm a Blaze King customer, and I have been for the last 10 years. Blaze King stoves are very efficient, they're easy to maintain, and they use a lot less wood than you would typically use with a fireplace.
Blaze King, that's a fire.
The heat is on when it's a Blaze King wood stove, controlling heat up to 40 hours on a single load of wood with a built-in thermostat. See for yourself at either Blaze King showroom, Albuquerque and Santa Fe. Blaze King, and now that's a fire.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, red and green chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier sweet rolls. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenprideabq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
Back with Espanola Valley guard Josiah Fresquez. I never thought, here it is, a Del Norte night welcoming in an Espanola Valley Sun-Devil. Right? The world is in a beautiful place. Everyone can get along. Now, those two teams have had some heated games in the playoffs, right?
Yeah.
That's a fun little matchup always. We were talking a little bit about district opponents and the season, but I want to talk about that Oregon Mountain game, I think, because, you guys are off to this really nice start, and if you had a chance to listen to my opening monologue there about Rio Rancho, kind of, that's kind of what a lot of people were looking at Espanola the same way, like, okay, are they really tested yet? And then that win against Oregon Mountain just jumps off the page, right? Because that's a team, 6'5", Lenny Washington, Venegas inside. They're physical. They play a physical brand of basketball. That's a really good team. You got that win jumps out of the page. So take me through that game.
Well, we started off trading buckets, and then we went down in the second quarter. We caught a lead, and then we came back, and then we were up. And I think we went into halftime down 3, and then in the third quarter we started out slow. I think they went up 13 or 14, and then coach called a timeout. We came together, and we were like, if we want to win, we got to start on defense. And we started pressing, and they weren't expecting our press, and we came back and we got the lead within, I think, like 4 or 5 at the end of the quarter, and then we just kept arching our way back into the game.
Right. Did you guys realize at the time how big of a win that was?
Yeah, we realized, because we knew that they were going to be a top team in 4A.
Right.
I mean, in 5A. They were in the state championship last year too.
That's those are the kind of wins that really get you noticed, right? And like, it's hard to fly under the radar after wins like that. I want to step away from hoops for a second though, because I do want to talk about, this is your first year at Espanola, and so you transferred over from Los Alamos. Tell our audience why you transferred over.
So my grandpa, he is sick with cancer and he has a lung disease. So my grandma needed help taking care of him, and I'm very big on family, so I said I would take on a role and help him. And then Los Alamos is a far commute. It's like 35 minutes every day, and if my grandpa needed something, I wouldn't be able to be there within a short amount of time. So I asked if I could transfer to Espanola, and luckily I was able to play and to continue playing.
Yeah, I mean, that's not an easy 35 minutes either, like, especially in the winter when you got to ride up that hill, right? Like, there's no guarantee you can make that commute. So is that something that your grandma reached out to you after the season? How did that kind of, so, you finish up your season at Los Alamos, you guys qualified for state, tough game in the opening round against Highland. Season ends. Does your grandma reach out to you, or you reach out to her? How did that take shape?
My grandpa had just been getting like more sick, and I knew my grandma couldn't handle it by herself. So I asked if there was any way I could step in and try to help her, and she said that there was a job available once I turned 18. So once I turned 18, I applied and I finished everything I needed to get to be able to help him.
So a lot on your plate outside of basketball. That's pretty impressive. Like, just tell me about, like, how did you process all that? I mean, I can't imagine making important decisions like that for my family when I'm 18 years old. I mean, hell, if you talk to my mom, she thinks I can't even make them now, and I'm 40, right? But, like, you're making important family decisions at 17, 16 years old. I mean, that was a lot on your plate. Just how did you process all that?
Well, my grandpa has always been my biggest supporter, so if anything happened, I knew I wanted to help him, even if that meant giving up my basketball season. But I was willing to give it up to help him because he's the most important person in my life.
Right. So did the whole family move to Espanola? How did that whole work?
So I had always lived in Espanola.
Okay, so you are okay.
My dad worked in Los Alamos, so I just always went up there.
Right.
But I've always lived off the hill.
So was it kind of like a homecoming? I mean, when you started playing in Espanola, or How did that all work?
That's what everybody's saying. Like it's like because Espanola has always been my home, so it was kind of like me coming back home to play my final year in Espanola.
All right. Also, interesting story. You have a Espanola connection. For those that don't know, best player in the state of New Mexico, Big Smooth, Kenny Inuino, has northern ties, right? He's an Espanola kid, and there's a connection there too, right? Tell us about that.
Yeah, so there's a league in Espanola called EVCA, and when me and Kenyon were in preschool, we were on the same team called the Lakers, and we were just little kids, but we always played up. We played against first and second graders, and we beat everybody, and we stayed playing together until I want to say like 5th or 6th grade, and then like my freshman year and a little bit of 8th and 7th grade year, we played some AAU tournaments together.
So, like, did you always see what we all see now? Like, when did it become apparent that he would be that good?
He was always so much bigger than everybody. We just knew he was going to be good. And then there was a team called the FBA, I think,
right.
And they wanted me to play, but it was a far trip. So we told them we had Kenyon. We sent him over there, and then now Kenyon turned into who he is.
Right. Yeah, I mean, you can see at those games, he still has a very large following from up north, right?
Yeah.
Like, you still see a lot of Espanola folks at Volcano Vista games. That's very cool. And kudos to you, man, like, to have your stuff together, to realize how important in your life family is. That's a really big thing. All right, let's transition to, I'm sure you've seen the show, Top 5. Want to do our top 5 list. Top 5 things our audience does not know about Josiah Fresquez. Number 5.
I would say number 5 is probably that I have a really big addiction to shoes.
Okay.
I'm very big into shoes.
All right, I can dig that. Like, what are we talking? Like, how many pairs?
I want to say roughly around 80 or 90.
Okay, that's good. That's a lot. All right. What, like, are we talking like Eloy Medina, by the way? We were talking about northern New Mexico. Eloy Medina, big. If you ever want to YouTube his appearance on this show, he brought 2 of his sneakers in.
Really?
And we talked about him. Yeah, so YouTube that. But, like, he was talking about, like, he had, like, custom-made acrylic case closets and stuff and everything. Like, are you talking, like, crazy stuff?
No,
like
I don't
that?
have crazy stuff like that.
Okay.
I just keep them. Well,
In the box?
I have a Trundle bed that I got, so I can pull out my bed and be
Okay.
able to keep my shoes underneath.
So what? I mean, what's the budget? What's the StockX budget?
It varies. It varies on different shoes.
What's the most you've ever spent on a pair of shoes?
I want to say I got the reverse Grinches. I paid about like $500 for those.
Yeah, those are a lot. Okay, what about, all right, if you were you're trying to impress somebody, you had to bring them you had to show them one pair of shoes, right? Like, what's your go-to? Like, I'm a sneakerhead. Yeah. Check these out. What would be the one pair, if you were trying to, let's say, impress a girl, what would be the one pair of sneakers you would bust out?
I'd probably say Black Cat 4s.
Okay.
Those are probably the one shoe.
Okay, cool. So are you, like, biggest sneakerhead on the team? Are there a bunch? Just you?
I would say we're all pretty big sneakerheads.
Okay. All right. Because I remember I had a guest once who was like, yeah, I'm a sneakerhead. And he said he had 11 pairs. I was like, I don't think that counts. Right? But yeah, YouTube that episode with Eloy. I think you'll enjoy it. All right. Number 4.
I'm a 4.0 student.
Good for you. 4.0. Like, that's a lot goes into that, man. Like, yeah, the layers to you just keep growing, right? Like, good basketball player on the court. That's a lot of commitment, right? Now you have these family commitments and a 4.0 in the classroom. That's a big deal, man. Like, what's your day like? Like, what do you take me through your average day?
So,
that keeps you so focused on all your
Coach Trujillo
priorities?
has us practicing early, so I'm up by like 6 every day. We have practice at 7.
All right.
Then 7 to 8:45 is practice. Then I have school. Then I get out of school. I go home. I try to like rest. I'll eat. Then we usually have practice again at 5:30 to like 7. After that, I go to work and I go take care of my grandpa until like whenever he needs me for the rest of the night.
Right.
And then that's just my day.
And I mean, do you have time to squeeze in homework at that point, or what? When you kind of, that's impressive, man.
Most of the days in class I can finish all my work.
Right.
And if I don't, I could just go to the library after school and just finish all my work.
Everybody wants to be him, but no one wants to put that. That's impressive, man. That's impressive. All right, number 3.
I like we talked about earlier, taking care of my grandpa.
Okay.
Most people don't know about that.
Yeah, no, that's a big, and I really appreciate you sharing that. That's very, very commendable. You know, as usually it takes people a long time to reprioritize their life and understand how high a priority family needs to be. I think you usually reach that in your adult life, right? And for you to already kind of have reached that mindset as such a young man, it'll serve you well. Number two, man, I sounded like an old person when I said that. Number two, what's the
I would
number
say
two
just
thing?
that I'm very big on family. Like
Okay.
throughout my entire family, through my mom's side of my family, through my dad's side, I'm very big. I'm close with almost all my family. I reach out to them. I talk to them as much as I can.
Okay. Are there any other basketball players in the family?
I had a cousin. Her name was Rebecca.
Okay.
She played at Pewaukee a while ago, and I think she still holds the record at NMSU for most points.
Okay. All right. There you go. All right. Number one thing that we don't know about Josiah.
I'm very faith oriented, and I have a good relationship with God.
Okay. And how does that help you?
It helps. Well, my uncle is a pastor in Texas, so he's really showed me like what it means to have God in your life
Okay.
and value Him. And he's just brought me like I pray before every game. We pray as a team before every game, and like I read my Bible. I do as much as I can to make sure that God's in my life.
Okay. And specifically to athletics, you know, how does it keep you calm, grounded? How does faith kind of go hand in hand with athletics? Because you see it a lot, right? So how does it help you?
I just know that if I have God by my side, I'm able to do anything that I put my mind to with Him by my side.
Right. And so is that something you think you have your whole life like that? Is that something you found later in life? When did you become so...
No. It's always been in my life. My dad used to be a youth pastor a long time ago, so
Okay.
we've always been in the church. But this year I actually started a new thing, so before every game, I'll get a piece of paper and I'll write a different Bible verse in my shoe and put it in my shoe before every game.
Okay, all right, very, very cool. All right, that was a very well-rounded and good top 5 list with Josiah. We'll take another break, pick up the conversation when we come back.
Rudy's is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
I'm David C. Chavez, personal injury attorney. Our law firm was founded by my father, Thibaut J. Chavez, with one goal, to get New Mexicans the help they need. That's why we built a different kind of law firm. We focus on family values, dedicated service, and we make a real contribution by giving back to our communities. We can't change what happened to you or your loved ones, but we can help you get back on the road to recovery. We're by your side, and we're still as local as red and green.
Back with Espanola Sun Devil Josiah Fresquez. When this airs on Monday, officially district will be here, and the following day you will open up district play with Pewaukee. So Pewaukee's, I hear mixed bag. Like a lot of people are like, yeah, they're really good. Some are like, okay, give me the story on Pewaukee. District opponent. That's your district opener. Give me the scouting report.
I think Pewaukee is a very dangerous team. They press very well. They have shooters. They have a bunch of guards. They have a big team, and they have a big reason. For Nick, that's a big reason why they're playing so good and they want it so much.
Our audience that doesn't know about Nick's story, kind of take us through the condensed version of that.
It was homecoming night. He was driving really fast, coming to Albuquerque, and he just got in a bad car accident and passed away.
So that's what the community up in Pewaukee's been dealing with, and I would say on the court they've been doing a pretty good job dealing with that. They're off to a nice start. Is that the biggest? We talked about kind of them, Taos also being a big test to your district, right? How special will it be though when you play your old team, Los Alamos?
I think that'll be a special game. I know they're struggling this year. It's very different for them. They have a new team, new coaches, new everything, but I think it'll be a fun environment to play in Los Alamos when I go back.
Now 4A this year, wide open, like we talked about a little bit, right? Like, so let's talk about that a little bit. Let's say some weird way Del Norte doesn't win state. Okay, my Knights don't win, which, I mean, it could happen, not likely. But let's say Del Norte doesn't win state for whatever fluky reason. Who else do we need to talk about? Obviously, your guys.
Highlands is going to be good.
Right.
Jesus comes back against Bernalillo.
Right.
He'll be very good. I think St. Pius is very good. They have everything. I think Artesia's going to be good because they have a really big guy. They have some good guards. They'll be good. There's a lot of good teams that I think that like Lovington. Kale's very good. I think that's another team they got to look out for. And Del Norte is playing very good.
Would you agree that this year it's pretty open? Like, there's been some years in 4A where you clearly know, like, okay, this is the team to beat, or these are the two to beat. But I think this year you could make an argument for almost anybody, couldn't you?
Yeah, I think so. Like last
Does that
year,
make it more exciting?
Yeah, it makes it a lot more exciting. Like last year, we knew Jesus. Jesus was that player. He was averaging 32. Everybody was worried about him, and he proved why they were the best team. This year, him coming off an injury, they're still going to be very good, but there's no really number one team in 4A right now.
Right. So then how important is it, like you talked about your goals, right? How important is it to win your district?
It's very important. I want that number one spot. I want that number one seed so we get a home game to bring back Espanola, bring back the fans, and then bring them all to the pit.
Right, because, I mean, that first round home games are important, especially in the smaller classifications, 4A, 3A, 2A, because those are tend to be the big basketball communities, right? Like, they draw a huge crowd, right? Like, and nobody except Del Norte wins at Espanola, right? I mean, usually that's trouble when someone goes up to Espanola, right? So that's why that's important. And then, you know, like this tournament, like how the pit experience, like have you thought about it? What it would be like this year to take your home team, the Sun Devils, down the ramp, all that? I mean, you guys think about that?
We think about it all the time. It's something we have a goal to and we want to achieve. Espanola has always been very crazy fans. Like, they'll pack it out. Everybody used to talk about how in 2017 and the years they won 2016, how the pit was sold out. And I would love to bring that back to Espanola.
Yeah, Coach Martinez had a pretty crazy crowd at those games, man. That was an environment, I can tell you that. That's for sure. And then, you know, we would be shortchanging if we didn't talk about what's next. What do you want to do after high school? You have a lot on your plate, obviously, with family, but do you want to continue playing?
Yeah, I want to continue to play. My goal is to go to Highlands and play with Coach Mikey.
Right. And that's, well, first of all, why is that the goal, right? Is it because it's kind of the perfect combination of close-to-home basketball, or you just tell me about that? Why Highlands?
I just always grew up knowing Coach Mikey. My family was close with him, so I always knew him. And I just think that, like you said, it's not that far. Right. I get to play basketball. They're a good team. They're a good school. It's a good program, and I can build from there.
They press, they run,
yeah.
All those things you guys like to do, right?
Yep.
Yeah, and Coach Dominguez, I mean, it's got to make a big difference for you guys too, but Coach Dominguez is very good with local kids. Like, if you're good enough and you're from here, you're going to play, right? Like, his teams have shown that local kids are going to play, right? I mean, you only have to look as far as T.J. Sanchez.
Yeah.
Now Jaquan Hill's starting, right? Like, local kids will play for Coach Dominguez, right?
Mm-hmm. That's a big thing. I want to be able to just get an opportunity to be able to showcase what I can do.
Right. Well, man, I really appreciate you coming in. We'll be keeping a close eye on Espanola, and hopefully this strong start continues. Good luck in district. Good luck against Pewaukee, and good luck the rest of the way.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching, everybody. Good night.